Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. This was actually a little popular. This was quite popular news. I found it interesting because this is something we've been talking about for a good 3 years or so. I'll get into it and then we'll go over it because I'm pretty sure a lot of you remember me having conversations about this. The prices of XRP and Stellar Lumens exhibit an uncanny tendency to mirror each other's movements. This perplexing correlation has ignited what they say are spirited debates within the cryptocurrency community, prompting the CTO of Ripple, his name is David Schwartz, to offer his own insights. For those of you who are new, welcome. For those of you who've been in the cryptocurrency space for some time, you might have noticed many times whenever XRP is doing well, if XRP's price goes up by 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12%, Lumens tends to go up around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6%. And the same exact movement in the same exact time. If for whatever reason XRP is having a bad day and XRP goes down by 5 or 6%, Lumens will also go down by 3, 4, 5, 6, 7% at the exact same time in the exact same movement. And it's been happening for a number of years. I have my own ideas as to why this has been taking place. And apparently a lot of other people were also wondering as well. Instead of simply saying the crypto market was moving together, Schwartz warned against jumping to conclusions because that's what many of us do quite easily. If two coins are completely mimicking each other, when one of them is actually being used and the other one no one cares about anymore, why would the second one, that's a almost a copy and a mockery, same thing, of the first one, be moving at all? He reminded everyone that the crypto market is naturally prone to big swings and that everything is interconnected. Yeah, but the problem is that if Bitcoin goes up, XRP takes about a good hour or so to maybe move up as well, and the movements aren't exact, I would say. This means that general market sentiment and the constant search for fair prices often cause all the different assets to move in the same direction at the same time. However, two of them keep moving, in tandem. It's almost as if, let me not say it, that would be too much speculation. He didn't believe the popular theory that Bitcoin's influence on liquidity was the only reason behind this, arguing that it's a more complex picture. Here's a little tweet right here. People were asking him, what's going on? What's the haps? And he said, that's puzzling. I can't think of any reason why that would be the case. Maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. XRP and XLM have tracked in the past, so people expect them to track in the future. So if one goes up, you buy the other expecting it to go up too. So it does, end quote. Now, I understand that Mr. Schwartz, being the CTO of Ripple, probably can't say what a lot of people are thinking or what he believes might actually be going on. This is why he's like, oh, that's weird. Because I'm pretty sure as a multi-billion-dollar company, they've probably also been like, what the fudge is going on with the prices? Why are they tracking XRP? Lumen, I'm going to say this quickly and get it over with. Lumens years ago was created after XRP and was touted as the new XRP. Part of the problem is that nobody wanted Lumens. And then they had I think one major partnership, but that never actually ended up going anywhere. They had something I think it was 2 years ago where the people from Stellar Lumens got on stage and they were talking about that they were going to burn a significant portion of the coins in an effort to raise its price and popularity, and still nobody wanted it. And then after that, every single time that XRP moved in any direction, Lumens did the exact same thing, despite not being used or wanted by anybody. So very weird. That's why I said I found this interesting, because I thought I was the only one noticing this at the end of the older videos when I used to go over prices and stuff like that, because I was like, something seems a little bit off when it comes to this movement. He says it's maybe just a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I'm going to call shenanigans on that one, because someone behind the scenes is desperately still trying to make Lumens relevant in some sort of way. And all I can say is, at this point, it is awesome to know that everything Ripple said that they were going to do, they've done. XRP is being used by world banks and countries and institutions, and it is abundantly weird that other coins that are not continue to still follow the price of XRP. That's the why is that happening news. And yeah. Let's move on. I'm not sure if we're supposed to like jump for joy for this news. In a recent development, the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Illinois has approved and entered a consent order of permanent injunction, civil monetary penalty, and equitable relief against Changpeng Zhao and Binance Holdings Limited. The Commodities Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, has announced the approval of the settlement. I'm going to back it up a little bit. You know what I find really weird about a lot of the cryptocurrency injunctions, lawsuits, monetary penalties, if you will. If you've ever lived in the States, if you live in the States, if you've watched news about the States, you'll have noticed that sometimes if someone or something, usually someone, gets in trouble law-wise, usually their court cases tend to go on for a pretty long amount of time. I mean, like 2, 3, 4 years. Like, you forget about it. Like, it's in the news, it's there, it's omnipresent, and then it kind of goes away, and then at some point you hear that this person got whatever. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember that being in the news a long time ago. For some reason, all the cryptocurrency people, they got in, like, they had their trial, and then like 8 days later, they were like found guilty or got in trouble and stuff like that. So I find a lot of the timing for people outside of crypto, it seems like their lawsuits last for a very long time, while people within the cryptocurrency space tend to get in trouble more quickly. Or not a word. Is quicklier a word? Anyway, so you might have heard, this was about 2 or 3 weeks ago around this point. I want to say three something weeks ago. We heard that Changpeng Zhao entered the United States and then was like taken into custody. He got in trouble for all these other things, and the long and short of it is the case against him, as far as we understand it or we were told, was that apparently it had to do with like allegedly wire fraud and allowing people in countries that were under sanctions to use Binance and his platform and stuff like that, when basically the idea is that they say that Binance didn't do enough to stop people from other countries from using VPNs and using their website, and therefore transferring money around the world or whatever they said was going on. The original thing that we heard was that I think Binance would have to pay, was it like $3.6 billion? I think that was the number, $3.6 billion. Apparently that's been shrunk down by a lot. So the court found Zhao and Binance in violation of the Commodity Exchange Act and regulations and yada, yada, yada. As part of the accusations, Binance must pay a $1.35 billion penalty to the CFTC. Moreover, Binance is also required to disgorge, SAT word, $1.35 billion of ill-gotten transaction fees. On the other hand, Changpeng Zhao will have to pay $150 million as a civil monetary penalty personally. So it looks like a lot of this may be wrapped up. I'm not really sure. This seems like the big shebang that we've been hearing about for quite some time. all I can say is it is what it is. There's really a lot more that I'd love to say, but it's more of a, I wasn't there. I don't know. I like to at least imagine that a lot of these people were trying to go within the rules of the law, but once again, don't know them and I wasn't there. So as it stands right now, there's no longer a almost $4 billion penalty. It's I guess that's 1.35 and then 1.35, so that's 2.7. I guess we're still almost there, and Changpeng Zhao has to pay $150 million while banks continue to destroy the world and they don't receive any penalty at all. That's the, is this also it? Yep, this is also it as well. That's the Binance Fee news. Yeah, let's move on. I think this is supposed to be shocking, but it's not at all. A lot of you might remember about 10 days ago, we had some rather shocking news where we heard that Binance, that Tether is a company and Tether is centralized and Tether does as Tether pleases. Also in that news as well, we found out that Tether works with law enforcement because you cannot create a digital version of the US dollar and just completely go willy-nilly around the world. The US government is going to know and want to know what you're doing, who's been using your coin and transactions and all these other things. So that was the news. No. The news that we had before was that they were freezing transactions that were allegedly connected to wrongdoings. The wrongdoings being the things that were indicated by governments around the world that they said this transaction looks false and therefore freeze it. Here's the 2.0 of that news. Tether, the company responsible for Tether, has made public letters it sent to the U.S. Senate Committee on Banking, Housing and Urban Affairs and the U.S. House Financial Services Committee, underscoring their dedication to security and close cooperation with law enforcement agencies. In one of the letters, Tether CEO Paulo Ardoino emphasized the company's decision to disable Tether tokens held in wallets associated with the Office of Foreign Assets and Control's OFAC sanction list, the thing that allegedly Binance was not doing. The idea, once again, being if something is under sanctions because a government has said so, usually the U.S., and you don't take immediate action or you still allow people to use your thing or you don't raise any red flags immediately, you're breaking the law. So Tether's like, hey, guess who's not breaking the law? It's us. Tether claims to have assisted the DOJ, the Department of Justice, the U.S. Secret Service, and even the FIBI. Oh, sorry, that's the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, in freezing 326 wallets controlling a total of 435 million US dollars in Tether. Yes, that's the news. So we got extra news that apparently they've been helping law enforcement for a while now, which is like weird, right? That they'd be doing that as a company. I remember years ago when we also had, this was 2019, maybe 2020. I don't remember. We had news that Coinbase, so stupid. We had news that Coinbase had given information, I think, to the FBI or the DOJ about I think 6 different wallets that were on their platform because for some reason, allegedly criminals were using their platform, which just doesn't make any sense, how people just don't understand how a bank or a cryptocurrency exchange would work. So they froze those accounts and people, the people in question couldn't use them. And people were like, decentralization, why can't they use their coins? And it's like, what planet did you grow up on exactly where you just think that people can just go and allegedly commit crimes and Coinbase is supposed to be like, well, Bitcoin is decentralized. Let's just let them take the coins off the platform. That's not how any of this actually works. Anyway, that's the Tether works with law. Oh boy, that was strong. Law enforcement news. So as I've said before, when you use Tether or Coinbase or a cryptocurrency exchange or link your cards to something, All these things are centralized, so just understand that your data's being taken, and if you don't want that, then that's that's the Tether news. And yeah, let's move on. I really liked this one as well, because this was like, well, at least someone makes sense. So remember, like a couple of days ago, also like a week, for those of you who do not know, Bitcoin has NFTs. They are, fancy pink, like pinky high in the air. And they're not called NFTs, they're called inscriptions. And instead of like minting them, you inscribe them, prescribe them, describe. I forgot what you do to them. But everyone's going crazy for them. They've been going crazy for them since January. About a week ago, we heard from one of the higher up, as far as we know, developers in the Bitcoin community who called them a mistake and a bug and said that he was going to get rid of them. Now, I was quite perplexed, because that's not how anything really works in this space. If something's on the chain, it's literally there, like it's embedded in the information basically forever. So this person kind of went on like a little mini rant, and they were like, no, Bitcoin should be just payments and just digital gold and nothing else. And they were going to find a way to be able to delete, destroy, get rid of the idea of Bitcoin NFTs and inscriptions altogether. Adam Back, CEO of Blockstream, has acknowledged that inscriptions, media embedded directly on top of Bitcoin, cannot be stopped, stating that any action focused on this will only prompt users to do it in worse ways. For those of you who don't understand that, the idea is if you tell people no at any point, they're going to push back even harder. So if you tell them, no, you can't do it this way, and you delete it from the code that says you can enter information onto a Satoshi, people will look through the code and they'll find another way to embed it directly on chain. So why not do it this way? Instead, Back proposed adding a new blob of data to Bitcoin blocks dedicated just to inscriptions. You might have noticed, maybe you have or have not, depends on how often you've been using the chain. Bitcoin transaction fees were like 8 cents. I mean, we haven't seen that since like 1922, like just really low transaction fees. And then at some point in January, it was like, oh my, why are they $2 again? $14? Yeah, I'm not going to use that. And a lot of people were like, hey, this is, they're kind of slowing down the chain. We also used to see, when I used to show that thingy, what was that thing? With the transactions with the little South Park characters at the end. One day, I think it said like 330,000 transactions were backlogged on Bitcoin. And it was maybe because of the inscriptions. We saw in one day, I think 600,000 NFTs had been minted on top of Bitcoin. So it was logical to assume that they were raising transaction fees and slowing down the chain that only does 3 transactions per second. So the idea is if you have a block that has all the information for Bitcoin transactions, and the NFT transactions also get stuffed into that box as well, slowing down the network, why not have a little box that's attached to the bigger box and have that be specifically for the NFTs instead? Blockstream CEO Adam Back has recognized that fighting ordinal inscriptions, media embedded directly on the Bitcoin blockchain, is useless. In a recent statement on Twitter, Back stated that he said JPEGs on Bitcoin were unstoppable and that any actions directed to stop them would only worsen the situation. He declared, and I quoteth, "Complaining will only make them do it more, trying to stop them, and they'll do it in worse ways. The high fees drive adoption of layer 2 and force innovation, so relax and build things." I think that's a very nice way of saying, stop complaining about it. If you didn't make it, it doesn't, it's not really harming you in any sort of way. Bitcoin will remain Bitcoin. It's going to always be there. If anything, this makes people want to have it around more. This thing that I minted in 2021 in the year 2045 is still there. I can pass this on to my descendants, what have you, and I know that it's there and I made it. It's this kind of thing that, enforces the chain even more. But saying that you want to destroy them or get rid of them is like, just, calm it, buddy. Like it's not is not really that deep. But yes, if you expand Bitcoin, if you make them or put them onto layer 2s, there's a reason why Polygon exists, because the NFTs were exclusively on Ethereum, and then it slowed down the chain, and then we had like $800 transaction fees, and then Polygon popped up, and now the transaction fees are like in the cents again. Maybe they're a little bit higher. I don't know. Anyway, the point is, cool. Good job, Adam Back, for handling that in a very nice and professional way. I mean, you can't call your colleagues like special or anything like that. So you got to be like, oh, there are other ways to do this. So I assume February, March, we'll probably hear some kind of a proposal as to what someone wants to do. Probably around June, we'll hear that there are new whatchamajaggers. Some type of a new update that's going to be happening, and then we'll end up having the update, and then life will continue on, because that's what all the chains always do. So yeah, quite popular news, because you can't delete the information. Like it's embedded in the that's the Bitcoin NFTs will continue news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in yay news, we now have news that apparently in total, as far as now, in total, 85 billion with a B Terra Luna Classic have been burned as of the beginning of December of 2023. And the article's very long. The article goes on to talk about like Terra Luna and how Terra Luna collapsed and how Terra Luna Classic came back, and the cryptocurrency exchanges who are burning the coins and how many coins they want to burn and all that other kind of stuff. Terra Luna Classic keeps re-entering the news, but it's just always about the coin burn, very similar to Shiba Inu. I hope they do it. I hope the transactions increase during the during the bull run, so that they get to their illustrious. Oh no, it's Shiba Inu who wants to get to 1 cent, and it's Terra Luna Classic who wants to get to $1. I don't know if you guys, probably not. A couple weeks ago, there was some person online who was screaming really, really loud, and he was like, Terra Luna Classic is never gonna go to $1, and I was like, don't say that, because people in the cryptocurrency space are very, very headstrong. Headstrong is the word that I'm going to use. And if you tell them no, similar to the NFTs, they're going to find a way to make it happen. It might take a cycle or two, but you know, if the support is still there, it'll definitely happen. So cool. I think we could have all assumed that when Terra Luna collapsed, that this coin, this remade coin was probably not going to go that far. And here we are, seconds away from 2024, and it's still around. So especially during a bull run, I assume it's going to do well. That's the Terra Luna Classic news. Moving along. Okay, so I was corrected by my friend. So for those of you who don't know, FIFA, FIFA, like the football conglomerate, announced 2 years ago that they were going to be making NFTs. And everyone completely lost their minds because they were like, where are the NFTs going to be? And they announced that the NFTs were going to be on Algorand. And Algorand was chosen as their main platform that they were going to use to mint their NFTs. I think they did a whole bunch of them for games and other events and blah, 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 blah. Recently, there was news that they were stopping the use of Algorand and that they were going to now exclusively be using Polygon. So I have a friend who really likes Algorand, and he got into it even more because he heard about the FIFA thing and was like, okay, this is clearly like going to be one of the really big chains. Also, for if you missed it like a year ago, I also own Algorand as well. Algorand, Polygon, what's the other thing? ApeCoin, Decentraland. I own a lot of different altcoins as well. But then I told him this news being like, oh boy, like maybe they're going to stop using it. And I was corrected immediately, the same exact way that this website and every other website also had to be corrected as well. So apparently, because everyone misunderstood, In their second announcement, FIFA clarified some confusing language from the first official announcement. The first announcement announced that they would be having 100 NFTs that were going to be released, but did not specify that they would be released on the Algorand network. 900 NFTs were announced to be released on Polygon. Therefore, like almost all other sources, we assumed that all NFTs would only be released on Polygon. In a correction, FIFA announced that the first 100 NFTs will be released on the Algorand network. So as it stands right now, they're having some type of digital World Cup event type of thing that's going to be going on. It appears in a light exclusivity kind of thing. If they're only releasing 1,000 NFTs, the first 100, for those of you who don't know, numbers are very important to a lot of people within the NFT space. Me personally, no. However, a lot of people do go after, like, this was the 17th one that was created out of 10,000. This is a 3-digit one. This is number 224 out of 10,000 made. People love numbers within the NFT space. So the first 100, and if you want under 100 mints, the number, it's going to be on Algorand. And then subsequently, the other 900 will be on top of Polygon, the king, if you will, of where the NFTs are made. Even though we've had some news recently that it looks like by sometime next year, if the popularity continues, that Bitcoin NFTs will outpace, potentially outshine the Polygon NFTs, just because there's so many of them being made all the time. A lot of it, of course, has to do with hyper speculation. I don't know if a lot of you are in the NFT space. For those of you who are like me, a lot of the idea is that the NFT market, we already see it moving back up, that is going to come rip-roaring back. And therefore, you get the idea. The early bird kind of gets the worm, that entire thing. And we're just seeing another movement for the bull run. That's the FIFA clarification. So they are still using Algorand. They're still going to continue using Algorand. But the second batch of NFTs will be released on Polygon as well. That's the Polygon Algorand FIFA news. And yeah, let's move on. Also oh wow, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I couldn't have guessed that one before. JP Morgan has predicted that Ethereum is going to eclipse Bitcoin in 2024. This comes despite the much anticipated Bitcoin halving event, which traditionally stirs up a frenzy in the crypto community. If this is going to be your first halving, oh boy, get ready. I said it before, in summertime, you literally have no idea what's coming. You think you know, you have no idea. It is going to be absolute madness. And I'll even draw it back a bit. From the moment we get a or multiple Bitcoin ETFs to the halving, to 18 months after the halving, get ready for the shock of your life, because it is going to, the cryptocurrency market and the energy are going, it'll feel ravenous almost. JP Morgan has announced that despite the halving, Ethereum is going to eclipse Bitcoin. I'm going to try and say this in a very, mannered way. JP Morgan lies a lot, comma, or period, asterisk, something's there. Over the course of the last couple of years, JP Morgan has kind of made it their thing to tell everyone on multiple occasions that Bitcoin is garbage, or Bitcoin's not good, a blockchain, not Bitcoin, you name it, back in good old 2014. And then we find out that they have tons of analysts who are allegedly trading Bitcoin. We have it in good measure to know that JP Morgan also is probably buying a lot of Bitcoin behind the scenes as well. But the other thing that really sticks out is that JP Morgan and many other corporations around 2017, kind of came out in favor of one particular coin. It was either Bitcoin or Ethereum. And over the while, we've seen that JP Morgan has allegedly favored Ethereum far more because they probably own more Ether. The first couple of years within the Bitcoin space, a lot of people, institutions, banks, what have you, did not buy Bitcoin because it was seen as something fringe or only for nerds. And then Ethereum was being released, and a lot of companies and corporations jumped on it because they saw the potential of how high Ethereum could go. And the idea was, well, Bitcoin's at $50. Like, you know, it's way too high at this point. Let's get Ether when it comes out because it'll only be 50 cents. So a lot of companies, you know, stockpiled their Ether. I think, if I remember correctly, I think Novogratz is also one of these people. You know, the whole story with him buying Ether at $1, yada, 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 yada. But it's all these people who've talked negatively about Bitcoin over the years who just hold a lot of Ether. JP Morgan, I'm pretty sure, is also part of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. So that also makes sense as to why they would believe it. And also, just mathematically, altcoins tend to always outperform Bitcoin. So we could still see a $200,000 Bitcoin, but at the same time, the other coins will also perform exceptionally well. So this would lead us to a $15,000, $16,000 Ether if, you know, should things go bananas, but Bitcoin would still do exceptionally well. I don't have to read through the entire thing. It's basically, this is another very, 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 very long article, basically talking about what Bitcoin could do or what JP Morgan thinks. And it's like, sure, why not? JP Morgan knows exactly what's going on. These people aren't idiots. They're behind the scenes as well. And I would have in an alternative universe, I might have even said, this gives me something to think about. But having heard Jamie Dimon actively trying to manipulate markets over the course of the last 9,000 years, and then hearing him so constantly talking negatively about Bitcoin, the same exact thing as Peter Schiff, there's a difference. Like, if someone brings it up and you are forced to talk about it, that's one thing. You can talk negatively about something, you know, Solana, hey, right here, if it pops up. But imagine if I woke up every morning and my first post on Twitter every morning was about Solana for the past 8 years. You'd be like, okay, dude, we get it. Jamie, almost called him JP Morgan. Jamie Dimon has made it his thing every single time that he goes on to the news anywhere, any type of financial thing, when he goes to Davos, to talk negatively about Bitcoin. I'm sure Jamie Dimon might not like mushrooms and or cucumbers, but we don't hear him talking negatively about mushrooms or cucumbers every single time he's in Switzerland. So anyway, cool. We'll see what ends up happening. You know, as always, we are, on the train. We don't have a choice. We're going to see exactly where it ends up going. But as it stands right now, I assume both of these coins are going to do exceptionally well. We had news as well. News is beginning to pop up once again about the flippening. This happens every single gosh darn having. The idea that Ethereum will flip Bitcoin to number one. I do not believe it is going to happen. You do not understand the amount of money that's flowing within these ecosystems that are being used to protect and make sure that Bitcoin is number one forever. On the same note, altcoins, if Bitcoin does well, will perform exceptionally. And I told you that's also one of the problems of the bull run. The first world problem, if you will, is that every coin ends up being a winner. So everyone ends up looking like a genius. But, that's another conversation for definitely for another time. I sincerely do hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.